a savage. You're a maniac. You are a bandit, and I am the goddamn hero!
Please. Stop jacking off your ego. So, I recently broke 100 hours on Borderlands 2, and I've beaten the game twice. More times if you count the collective amount of co-op games I've played in now. Now, Borderlands 2 already has a sequel of the pre-variety, and talk of Borderlands 3 is already being thrown around. However, since no one else appears to share my opinion on the series, I might as well just throw in my 2 cents. Borderlands 2 is soul-numbingly, mind-crushingly, unbelievably boring. No, don't click out yet. At least let me explain my reasoning. Now, first off, let's just say that I really enjoy Borderlands 2. If I didn't, I wouldn't have 102 hours on it. And the procedural gun tech is an extremely cool thing. Now, for the 3 of you who don't know, Borderlands 2's whole gimmick, and it is a gimmick, is that they procedurally generate weapons through a random gun part, prefix, and preset weapon pool, and occasionally they have special qualities. In my opinion, this is one of the best game mechanics ever. It makes finding loot interesting, eliminates the need to make a variety of preset items, you only need to make the parts of them, and due to the law of truly large numbers and probability, even the most niche or picky players and playstyles will be satisfied by at least one of the millions of weapons the system can make. Due to this being one of the few things that the entire game is riding on, basically every other mechanic is based around gunplay. For example, Fight for Your Life is a very well implemented mechanic that fits the game. This, however, has the downside that there aren't many things to do outside of shooting things, which, no matter how many guns you do it with, will get boring after a while. This will come back to bite the game in the butt later. The writing is also very humorous and extremely well done, designed to take you to all manner of places in the game and facilitating many, many moments of awesomeness. But let's stop talking about the great parts of this game. Why do I think this game is soul-crushingly boring? Well, its fatal flaw comes down to one word: progression. This game appears to have 2 extremes with its progression. At the beginning of the game, you're introduced to the quirks, and it puts its best foot forward in terms of writing. You meet the various characters of Pandora and get eased into the mechanics. Yeah, I really like this, but where is the badass stuff? I bought this game to do that. When do I get to do that? Now, I don't mean to downplay the story and world building because it is rather great, but I feel like pacing is a bit too slow right now. Unless you get lucky and the first boss drops a swarm, the first special quality legendary item, and compared to the rest of the arsenal, the swarm is extremely dull, you won't be seeing any interesting weapons until you kill the second boss of the game and he drops a fire elemental gun. A few missions later, you get to the main hub city of the game, and you're finally turned loose on the various lifeless deserts with the occasional empty varied areas to explore. Someone's probably saying in the comments right now, it's supposed to be a death world of deserts. Well, counter that, Fallout 4. Despite being set in the post-nuclear apocalypse and having the post-apocalyptic setting, which I typically despise for its blandness, the game still managed to be vibrant and interesting, with random encounters, cities to explore, tons of really cool areas and secrets to find. And the same goes for Skyrim, which takes place in one of the least hospitable places I could think of on Earth. Earth, quote-unquote. It could happen. You know what I'm saying. The game is as quirky, interesting, as over-the-top as Borderlands makes me want a world that fits that description. And sadly, the only areas I think do fit that description are the areas from the Tiny Tina DLC, which in turn is a parody of D&D. However, most of your time will be spent grinding for weapons and XP, so you can level up and get to an area where you'll grind for a bit more XP, so you can access a story mission, after which you'll need to, you guessed it, grind for more XP. I'm not opposed to a bit of grinding or slow pacing. I really am not. If everything was handed to you on a silver platter at 1,000,000 miles an hour, the game wouldn't be any fun, but when the game's main selling point of all these exotic guns and badass moments are locked behind farming the game enemies over and over again, it really does become boring. Well, at least level cap is probably exciting, right? You get to curb stomp most enemies, have attained tons of weapons, beaten the story, now you can do basically anything you want. Well, that's not fun either. Without the story missions facilitating the action, the game becomes a dull, repetitive desert where all you can do is farm the weapons you want and go on fetch quests. As soon as you get a bunch of guns you really like using and have your playstyle basically perfected, there's not really anything to go from that point other than a different playthrough difficulty. But if you're at level cap, chances are you've beaten the game at least twice. Once on normal, once on hard. Called True Vault Hunter mode. Your guns are guaranteed to have the same kind of cool or interesting effect, as they'll be the only ones useful to you at this point. And when all your guns are special...
No one will be.
Oh, but Qwerty, just play Ultimate Vault Hunter mode. The Borderlands enthusiast watching may be typing in the comments. Yeah, well, that's crap too. Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, as most people abbreviate it, is the hardcore mode of the game, and quite a few people consider it to be the only real Borderlands. Yeah, playing through the exact same game for at least the third time while fighting enemies with unfair advantages like damage reduction and health regen while basically necessitating the use of a specific elemental type. Yeah, that sounds like real fun. True Vault Hunter mode and Ultimate Vault Hunter mode only served to pad out the game because the lack of actual variety and Gearbox putting all their time and effort into the guns and story means that there's nothing else to do after a certain point. And if you tell me to start another save file, well then...
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity?
Now, I know that the "there's no point in playing after a certain point" argument applies to most games, and I agree. Now, I actually call it been there, done that syndrome. However, unless you've actually created a one-to-one, full-on simulation of real life, and if so, I'd really like early access, I can do some publicity stuff for you, this will happen to every video game eventually. As hard as it is to admit it, you will eventually reach the best ending, get all the items, 100% complete, find all the secrets, curb stomp every raid boss, and do everything you'd care to do in a game. The issue is that instead of realizing that the fundamental mechanics of the game needed to start having to do with something other than shooting bandits, Gearbox decided to just encourage restarting again and added more crap until they finally ran out of ideas for the weapon pool. In fact, the only reason I still play Borderlands occasionally is because A, sometimes I want to zone out, or B, because my friends play it, and then it's just a lot more interacting with them than the game itself. And, well, that's really all. It was my take on Borderlands 2. Hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like, tell your friends, subscribe if you like the video and want to see more, but above all, thank you so much for watching. I really do mean it.